Welcome to the Tokenized Economy. For today's explainer, we're diving into cryptographic identity. We're going to break down exactly how a blockchain knows who you are without you ever typing in a username or a password. So let's get right into it.
Okay, so to kick things off, let's talk about the core challenge here. Think about it. In a decentralized world, there's no central bank, right? No big company, no single authority you can just trust. And that makes verifying who's who a huge problem.
So, how do you actually prove you are who you say you are? If you send a transaction to move some funds, how does the network have any clue that it's really you and not some imposter? This, right here, is the fundamental question that cryptographic identity was built to solve.
Well, the answer isn't what you'd expect. It's not a password, it's not one of those "what was your first pet's name" security questions. It's math. Yep, specifically, it's this really elegant process of creating and then verifying a digital signature. Let's break down how it all works.
So, what is a digital signature? You can think of it like a cryptographic seal of approval. It's basically a way to prove, mathematically, that a message, and in our world that's a transaction, was definitely created by a specific sender and that nobody's messed with it along the way.
All right, so how does the network actually do this? It follows this really clever four-step process. First up, it rebuilds the unique fingerprint of the transaction, what we call the hash. Step 2, it takes your digital signature and uses some pretty cool math to recover your public key. Then, from that public key, it figures out your blockchain address. And for the final step, it just compares that address it figured out with the address of the sender. If they match, boom, it's valid. The whole thing is a mathematical proof from beginning to end.
And the result of all this is pretty profound. Your identity on the network isn't just something you claim it is. It's a mathematical certainty. It's proven by pure cryptography with every single thing you do.
Okay, now let's connect the dots. This whole verification process is what makes one of the most important variables in all of smart contract programming possible, and that variable is msg.sender.
Here's the key takeaway, really. msg.sender is that final, verified address that comes out of the whole signature process we just talked about. A smart contract can just look at this piece of data and know with 100% certainty who is calling its functions. And what's super important here is that you don't get to choose it. The network itself assigns it based on your signature. You can't fake it.
Yeah, this really shows just what a massive shift this is. Think about the regular internet, right? You declare who you are with a username, then you prove it with a password, and some central server validates it. But on the blockchain, you just sign a transaction. That's it. Your identity is then derived from that signature, and the entire network is the validator. It's a complete flip of the old model.
Okay, so we've got this guaranteed, mathematically proven identity. That's cool and all, but what can a smart contract actually do with it? How does this become useful in the real world?
A simple token transfer is the perfect way to see this in action. When you call the transfer function on a token contract, the very first thing it does is check the balance of, you guessed it, msg.sender. It asks, does the account that is provably making this request have enough funds? If the answer is yes, great, the balances get updated. If not, the whole thing just fails. The entire security of that token depends on the contract being able to trust that msg.sender is the real verified account holder. And this brings us to a much bigger idea, a deeper implication of this whole system. We're talking about a fundamental shift away from trusting institutions and toward trusting pure mathematics.
So, instead of having to rely on a bank's promise that they'll protect your account, you're relying on the unbreakable laws of cryptography. Your access is secured by a mathematical proof, not some corporate policy that can change tomorrow.
And really, if there's one thing to remember, it's this. On the blockchain, you don't tell the system who you are. The system figures out who you are, based entirely on the cryptographic key you hold. Your identity is an output of the system, not an input you provide.
Now, all of this naturally leads us to a really important follow-up question. We've just established that the signature, and by extension, the private key that creates it, is the absolute source of all identity and all control in this space.
So, we'll leave you with this to chew on. If these cryptographic keys are the ultimate source of control in this new economy, who should be holding them? Should it be you, the user, a company, a group of people? I mean, that's a question that gets into everything from technical mechanics to philosophy and governance, and it's definitely something we'll explore in the future.
And that wraps up this breakdown. If you found this useful, you know what to do. Subscribe for more short explainers on blockchain, tokenization, and financial markets. And hey, let us know in the comments what topic you'd